Now reporting, David Muir.
Good afternoon. We're coming on the air at this hour because there has been another deadly mass shooting in America, this one at a transportation facility in San Jose, California. Preliminary information is that there are multiple fatalities, multiple injuries. The shooter is also deceased. The facility is a control center for the Santa Clara Valley Transportation
My name is
Authority.
Deputy Russell Davis, R-U-S-S-E-L-L, last name Davis, D-A-V-I-S, Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer. Before we want to start today, I want to put out our condolences to the victims and family members from this incident. This is a tragic and ongoing investigation that we're doing right now. So we ask for the privacy for the family members until we can get everything sorted and figured out from here. Okay. This morning at 6:34 a.m., Santa Clara County Communications Center received multiple 911 calls of a shots fired call located in the area of 101 West Younger Avenue in the city of San Jose, which is a Valley Transportation Authority hub for VTA. Upon receiving multiple phone calls of shots fired, deputies showed up to the scene and learned that there were multiple victims that were shot at the scene, and there were multiple injuries and multiple casualties from this incident. I can't confirm with you at this point on how many injuries there are or how many casualties. This is still a fluid and ongoing investigation, and we're still trying to collaborate everything, what exactly happened with this incident. I will tell you right now, the suspect involved with this incident is deceased. I'm not going to go into details as to what was the cause of death at that point, but he is deceased. And the biggest thing we want to ensure is public safety for our community out there. And right now, public safety is assured at this point. We do have investigators on scene, pretty much doing our investigation to see exactly what happened and transpired. We had multiple law enforcement agencies that responded to the incident, including multiple fire personnel from different agencies that responded to the scene and assisted as well. We did initiate our active shooter protocol through the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office and through the Santa Clara County, where multiple agencies assisted with this incident, including fire departments initiating like a rescue task force rescue in that instance. That's all the information I have at this point. I will tell you that our reunification center is here next door at 70 West Heading. It's going to be over at our Isaac Newton Center, which is downstairs. So if anyone that is looking for a family member or trying to get in contact, it's going to be over here at 70 West Heading.
Russell, do you know the relationship between the shooter and the VTA and what type of weapon he may have used?
So I'm not going to go into details. It's still preliminary at this point as to the shooter, their information at this point. Any type of information in regards with anyone that is deceased is going to go through the Santa Clara County Coroner's Office, okay, because they have to do their investigation and find out, do the next of kin and contacting from that case. In regards with the weapon involved, I don't have that information at this point.
Did any deputies or police officers open fire on the suspect?
I don't have that information right now if deputies or police officers opened fire from the scene.
A male or a female shooter, and was it indoors or outdoors?
So I don't know if it was indoors or outdoors. I will tell you it was a male subject, and that's all I have the information at this point.
Was there a connection between the male suspect and VTA at all?
I don't have that information at this point. This is all preliminary. I will tell you I would say in about an hour from now, 10:30, we will have an update with that information. Right now, I'm going to route it over to Mayor Sam Liccardo, San Jose mayor, and he'll speak on behalf, and then we'll go from there.
Do you have a phone number that family members can call should they not be in the area for this meeting?
Phone number information, yes, good question. Phone number is going to be 408-299-2311. I'll speak it again, 408-299-2311. That is our Santa Clara County Communications Center, and I'll route that over in that aspect. Okay.
Hey, Russell,
yes.
At any point did a rescue operation commence at all?
I'm sorry, say that again?
At any point was there a rescue operation of sorts where authorities had to go in and get people out of the building?
Yes, there was a rescue operation. So pretty much we formed multiple tactical teams that came into the building to extricate victims out, as well as county fire fire departments came in, multiple agencies came in and initiated what we call as a rescue task force. That is part of our active shooter protocol, where they come in and they assist and come into pretty much what we call as a warm zone to assist and extricate victims out. So the biggest thing is public safety. We want to get them over and get medical aid as fast as we can.
Where?
One sec. I'm sorry.
Teams went into, you said they went in and extricated. Where did they go into?
So
how big of a space is it?
So the information with the building, 101 West Younger, I don't have that information at this point. It is a building. There is an indoor and outdoor area as well, so I don't have that information. Someone asked about indoor and outdoor, so I don't have that information at this point. One more question, I need to route it over.
Is there a gun battle between arriving officers and the shooter?
I don't have that information right now. It's still preliminary in that case. So,
how many number of people were shot, or?
So I don't have that hard number at this point. I will give you an update once we have that information. Again, this is still preliminary. We ask for the privacy for the families and the victims at this case. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to route it over to Mr. Glenn Hendricks. He is the VTA president.
You've been listening to Santa Clara County Sheriff Spokesman Deputy Russell Davis there, and as you can hear, there is still a lot of fluidity in this investigation underway, but yet another deadly mass shooting, this time in San Jose, California. This was a transportation facility, the control center for the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority, known as the VTA in that community. As you were hearing from the sheriff's deputy there, Russell Davis, he said multiple casualties, indicating multiple fatalities, multiple injuries, but did not have numbers at this time. He did say the suspect, who was a male, is deceased. He said the public safety aspect of this is now over, that suspect dead. He would not say the relationship between the suspect and the victims at the scene. They said the initial calls came in early this morning after 6:30 a.m. local time. 6:34 was the time, I believe, he just gave reporters at the scene. Again, would not elaborate on the relationship of the shooter in connection with the people on scene. Also could not say whether or not this mass shooting was indoors or outdoors, adding that this facility has both areas that are indoors and outdoors, so that's unclear. There was a question from a reporter at the scene about whether or not there was a rescue operation when authorities arrived on the scene. He said there was, in fact, a rescue operation in an effort to extricate victims from inside the facility. I want to bring in Will Carr, who is reporting in from Santa Monica. He's in California. And Will, what have you learned?
Well, David, you heard multiple times right there. They're saying this is a fluid incident. Typically with these active shootings, that's because victims can be double counted, or some can transport themselves to the hospital or be transported by other people to the hospital. So it'll take a couple more hours to get actual numbers here. We know that the VTA there in San Jose is a gated facility. Only employees are allowed inside. The VTA has 2,100 employees. It's unclear exactly how many were inside of the building when this happened. What's very, very tragic and sad here is this is supposed to be a day of celebration. The VTA was actually celebrating increasing their capacity on this train. They were putting out press releases to the local media, so they were coming together for something that they had been looking forward to for a long time, coming out of the pandemic here. And then obviously this day took a tragic turn. Again, we don't know how many people have been injured, but we do know that there are multiple victims. David.
Will Carr with us this afternoon. Will, thank you. You're looking at live aerial pictures over the scene. Again, the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority, and as you just heard Will Carr report, what makes this particularly sad is that they were set to mark increasing capacity on their train service, on their busing in that area, coming out of the pandemic, just beginning to emerge in that community, as so many communities are across this country. I want to bring in our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, who follows, obviously, these mass shootings very closely, and just a crushing number, Pierre, of mass shootings just since the beginning of this year.
Indeed, David. We've had 232 mass shootings so far this year. I'm just looking at the numbers. 258 people killed in these mass shootings, 936 people injured. And that's defined as shootings where there are 4 or more victims, not including the shooter, David. And I wish I had some good news for the viewers at home, but the fact is that gun violence has been increasing dramatically in the recent years. We are seeing a nearly doubling of mass shootings if you compare 2018 to 2020. Again, a situation where people are coming to public places now that the pandemic is over by and large, and they're now shooting in these mass shootings. And David, one of the things law enforcement has been concerned about is, again, when you have 400 million plus guns already in circulation, it means that the unstable, the people who are angry and are frustrated, have access to these weapons. And David, typically in these kind of shootings, law enforcement officials say there are some indicators that were missed. We will have to find out the details about what led this shooter there today, David.
Pierre Thomas, our Chief Justice Correspondent. You're watching ABC News live coverage at this hour of yet another deadly mass shooting in America, this time San Jose, California, at a transportation facility known as the VTA, the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority. Authorities there on the scene just moments ago confirming multiple fatalities, multiple injuries as well, and also confirming that there was a rescue operation when authorities arrived on the scene to try to extricate, in their words, victims from inside that facility. We do know the mayor is speaking on scene, had said before even this press conference that our hearts are pained for the families of those we have lost in this horrific shooting. Moving words, and sadly the words that we hear so often after mass shootings like this one across this country. I want to bring in ABC News contributor Brad Garrett following this with us as well, former FBI agent, 30 years of experience. And Brad, you and I have talked about the relative calm when it came to mass shootings during the pandemic, and then almost immediately as this country began to emerge from this pandemic, we began to see it. Atlanta, Boulder, and now San Jose.
So, sadly, David, it's just not something that's going to stop, and the reason why is it's just too easy. You have a lot of people coming out of this pandemic that feel disenfranchised, they're unemployed, they've lost their house. And in this case, because it appears to be at a location that's probably linked to the shooter. In other words, he worked there in some form or fashion. Was he recently fired? We don't know the answer to that. But there's some precipitating event that set him off. And he decided that there was no other way to solve this problem than to commit this mass shooting. They've run out of options. Of course, it's not rational, but that's where they get to, and that's how they talk themselves into committing these acts.
And Brad, a quick follow-up for you. You heard Will Carr report there that this is a gated facility, a locked facility, which would indicate an obvious relationship of some sort between the shooter, who has not been identified, though we know he's deceased, between the shooter and those who were shot there at that facility today.
Yes, and that's fairly common in workplace violence shootings, David, where it may not be easy just to walk through the door, which would further support, in my view, that the shooter was completely related in some form or fashion to this location, and he was going to seek his revenge.
All right, Brad Garrett with us all afternoon as we follow this. Brad, our thanks to you, our thanks to Pierre and Will Carr there in California. Again, at this hour, we're following a deadly mass shooting, this time in San Jose, California. Multiple victims shot, a number of fatalities, though they haven't confirmed that number. Also a number injured, that number not revealed as well. They did say the shooter is deceased, no longer a threat in that community. We'll be back on the air just as soon as we have more confirmed, and our coverage continues at ABC News Live, abcnews.com, and of course, I'll be back later today with the entire team for World News Tonight. I'm David Muir in New York. Until then, good day.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.